I came to Jeff because I had shoulder surgery maybe 10 years ago. He didn't just care about my shoulder, he cared about getting me well. And that was even more evident when I came back for this shoulder. You know, okay, you have diabetes, let's get that under control. If we don't get that under control, yeah, I can't fix your shoulder for good.
For someone who has a shoulder problem that's painful, that's good motivation. But diabetes is also known as a silent killer. And so there's sometimes just a lack of reason. I feel fine. The only reason I'm seeing a physician is because my blood labs are shown to be elevated, but I feel fine.
I was first diagnosed in the denial stages. I was started on blood sugar medicines. I was started on blood pressure medicines because my blood pressure was also high. I was started on thyroid medication, and I was started on cholesterol medication. I had seen insulin coming and I had never wanted to do insulin. No, I'm not going to do insulin, you know, part of the denial. I was only on insulin for about 2 months. You know, I really wanted to be off of it, and I proved to myself I could be off of it. I was exercising more, basically walking more, really watching what I was eating, and got off the meds. And she was really impressed. My blood sugars went from over 300 to 80s, 90s, 100s, and my A1C went from 11 down to 6.
The statistics from the American Diabetes Association says this problem is on the rise, and that 1 in 10 Americans, even within the next 10 to 12 years, is expected to be diagnosed with pre-diabetes. So it is a problem that's not getting better, it's getting worse. And so we have to treat it with a new model that's being shown to be effective, which is a medical team.
When I came to Jeff this last time, which really put it all together, I couldn't move my arm. I had a frozen shoulder, and my arm probably wouldn't go any farther than here. I was working 60 to 80 hours a week, more often 80 than 60. I wasn't sleeping. I was a transcriptionist, so my hands were always in front of me like this. So I never had any reason to raise my arm any higher than my head. And Jeff asked me about my diabetes, and my blood sugars were high, 300-ish. And he says, well, you have to get that under control. We can work on your arm, but we have to get that under control. And slowly but surely, I built this team. We built this team, Jeff and me, a nutritionist, and my diabetic doctor and my regular doctor, and people that cared that I got better, that encouraged me to get better, that gave me steps to get better, and it clicked.
When Judy mentions the fact that I said we really need to get your diabetes under control because your blood glucose levels are 300 or more, that's research-based. And if that's not taken directly by the physical therapist and started to move towards a medical model of a team approach, then you're likely not going to get that person's orthopedic problem better.
The process probably started 10 years ago when I was truly diagnosed with diabetes. Probably was in denial for the first 5 of those years before I started gaining weight and taking more medication and getting more out of control. But now that I'm more in control, I have more energy, I get up in the morning, I feel good, I can do things I wasn't doing. I can get out and walk and walk and walk and walk and walk and not be a problem. I can go out to dinner and not feel guilty about what I'm not eating because I am enjoying what I'm eating. I can take half my meal home, which is what I always plan to do, and have it for lunch the next day. I don't miss French fries. I don't miss greasy hamburgers. When I was first diagnosed, I started thinking about weight and losing weight, and I actually ended up gaining weight before I started losing any weight. Until when I topped the 200 mark, I said, okay, I can't do this anymore. But I couldn't get my diabetes under control on myself, and my shoulder wasn't getting any better, and because of our finances, I couldn't stop working any less at that time. Although I knew it was a temporary job, but we needed to have the money. Gradually, we started having 2 hamburgers and 1 thing of French fries, my husband and I. And I started taking half my hamburger home and leaving the bread on the table until I got to the point of, that's so easy right now because I don't even like hamburger buns anymore. Because I was working late, and sometimes I was working at the office late, And then going home and having a late dinner, I just decided that I couldn't be eating late dinners anymore. If I wanted to have a healthy snack, I could have a healthy snack. My husband and I had to change our eating habits to where there would be something at home that he could eat, and I would have something at work that was healthy for me, and when I came home I didn't eat, which helped the diabetes. The stress, I couldn't do it. I couldn't sleep. The stress level is also a factor in sleep and diabetes, and I need to get rid of the stress. My shoulder wasn't going to get better if I didn't do anything but this all day. I made myself take different kinds of breaks. We have pedometers at work, and so I was taking walking breaks, and I marked different places at work where I would go around and stretch during the day, during my breaks, and I still do that today. I do exercises in the stairwells when it's raining and I can't get out. Well, first of all, I'm not working 80 hours, so I am getting more decent sleep. Part of that's, I think, because I'm taking better care of myself and doing more exercises and things. I did go to a gym for a while, but that just didn't fit in with the lifestyle and working, and it was 80% of the people that I work with are somewhat overweight. A large majority of them are morbidly obese. And every week there's sweets brought in, there's cakes brought in, there's donuts brought in, and sometimes twice a week. And it's not good for my family. I mean, we don't need, we can have an occasional cookie, but we can go out and buy an occasional cookie. I don't have to bake a whole bunch of cookies. So I share all this because it's driving me nuts that the general population, and especially I'm also in the medical field, is not taking better care of ourselves. So I'm just saying no to everything, and I have gotten so many positive comments on the fact that, wow, that's really neat. Wow, there's less stuff coming into the office. So I feel like I'm making an impact not only on myself, but on a little segment of my corner of the world.
We're hopeful that as this research has made itself more widely known, that other physicians will come to recognize that a team of more than one is better than one alone. And that these patients with diabetes, it's not an easy solve. It's changing habits, it's changing thoughts, beliefs, understanding about my own physical health, and it is very challenging. We're sitting around more, our diets are getting worse, and we're not taking responsibility for our own health, but yet we're looking for other people to help us. But it starts with educating patients. And when patients are ready for a change and recognizing that 80% chance your next door neighbor is not the picture perfect look of what health is, and looking at yourself to say, I'm going to look at myself and not other people, and I'm going to make a change. That's where America's going to start changing, and we're not going to be first placed for dead last.